The night wind off the Pacific Ocean howls through the gaps in the naval base, carrying the stinging salt spray and a bone-chilling cold. The sound of waves crashing violently against the breakwater echoes in a steady, gloomy rhythm. You are 20 years old, and you are sitting before a freezing steel desk under flickering fluorescent lights. No one forced you to sit here. No gun is pointed at your head. The enlistment application for the United States Navy lies motionless under the sallow light. You pick up the plastic ballpoint pen. The blue ink leaves stark letters on the paper as you decisively sign your name. You smile arrogantly. Your young heart races with illusions of medals, of patriotism, and the burning desire to become part of the most elite force on the planet. But deep inside, in the darkest corner of your cerebral cortex that you yourself haven't even touched, a different truth waits. You are not seeking glory at all. You are just looking for a place brutal enough to destroy yourself, to crush an ego that is rotting from the inside out. You turn 21 and you are standing on the sands of Coronado, California, facing Hell Week of BUD-S training. The freezing cold of the Pacific Ocean slices through every cell of your flesh like razor blades. You are low crawling under the white-capped waves. 5 days and 12 hours have passed without you getting a single minute of sleep. Your eyes are swollen shut, seeping blood. Your blurred vision is reduced to shattered gray-black streaks. The beach sand has chafed your armpits and groin until they are torn to shreds. The smell of your own fresh blood mixed with rotting seaweed shoots straight up your sinuses. Seawater floods your throat, bitterly salty, then spills into your bronchial tubes every time you try to lift your head to gasp for air. The instructor's loudspeakers shriek piercingly, constantly cursing and goading you to quit. The brass bell hanging on the grinder constantly invites a defeated wring of the hand to end all the agony. You carry the 100-pound rubber Zodiac boat on top of your head along with 6 other men. Your exhausted legs limp into the surf zone. The teammate standing right next to your right side suddenly loses his footing. His eyes roll back into his head. His body collapses into the white sea foam. A violent wave crashes over his face. The biological reflex of a normal human being is to let go and collapse with him. But at BUD-S, abandoning a teammate is a death sentence for your career. You grit your teeth. You tense your shredded shoulders, taking on the massive weight of the boat in place of the man who just fell. Your muscles scream, threatening to tear. The instructors swarm around, cursing, kicking sand in his face, shoving the brass bell right up to his ear. That weakling reaches out and rings the bell. He quits. You still stand firm, bearing double the weight. You have survived Hell Week. Standing, shivering in a silver thermal space blanket on the 6th day, you watch the shadows cleaning up the grinder. You realize a ruthless truth. SEALs never choose the ones with the strongest muscles. They choose the ones whose nervous systems are already fractured. The ones who are willing to shoulder the weakness of others until the system automatically purges the broken links. You are 22 years old, and you officially pin the sacred gold trident insignia to your chest. You become a SEAL operator, assigned straight to Team 3. Your life now shrinks into a platoon of 16 men. The formation is divided into 2 squads and 4 fire teams. You take on the role of point man leading the stack and assume the position of breacher, specializing in blowing doors. A moonless night in a Middle Eastern combat zone, the darkness is thick and absolute. Your eyes are pressed against the twin tubes of your night vision goggles, painting the surrounding world in a ghostly green hue. Desert dust crunches under the heels of your tactical boots as you move. Your team presses their bodies tight along the mud brick wall of a target compound. The commander gives a subtle hand signal. You instantly step up. You slap a block of C4 explosive onto the hinges of the rusted iron door. Insert the blasting cap, step back, and hit the clacker. A pathetic pff sounds. The det cord had a technical failure. Inside the house, the clatter of AK-47s being racked echoes loudly. The door isn't open. Your formation is jammed tight in a narrow alleyway. 16 lives are exposed as target dummies. Without a second of hesitation, you throw the defective clacker away. You yank the tactical sledgehammer hidden behind your back. You charge straight forward, completely exposing your body to the stream of bullets waiting to punch through the door. A deafening metallic crash rings out as you swing the hammer. Rotted wood and rusted iron shatter into pieces. The door bursts open. Bullets from inside tear through the wind, grazing your ear, slamming into the opposite wall. The formation floods into the room, rapidly clearing all targets. You stand leaning your back against the wall, chest heaving, cold sweat pouring out and soaking your heavy body armor. You almost died right there. When returning to base, the commander looks at you and gives a pointed nod. The organization praises your bravery. But as you stand in the shower and look at the scratches on your face, you understand a twisted truth. That was absolutely not conscious bravery. It was just the automatic reflex of a machine that has been completely stripped of the concept of the fear of death. At 26, you take on the position of squad leader, holding the rank of petty officer. You directly command 7 other heavily armed black shadows lurking in the night. Gunsmoke and the smell of pulverized brick hang heavy in a cramped slum. Your team is surrounding the hideout of an insurgent leader. You deliver a front kick, busting open the bedroom door. Your M4 assault rifle is pointed straight ahead. The high-lumen tactical flashlight cuts a blinding beam into the moldy corner of the wall. The target is standing there, frozen. He is not holding a gun. He is clutching a child, about 6 years old, tight against his chest as a human shield. The child screams, tears streaming down a panicked face. 7 gun barrels from the teammates behind you are simultaneously pointed forward, fingers resting on the triggers. Everyone is just waiting for a verbal command to issue from your throat. Time seems to freeze completely for 2 ticking seconds. You have to make a brutal decision. You can shoot through the child to eliminate the target, or you order a halt. Pull back. Entire squad, pull back. Your hoarse voice echoes over the comms system. The formation instantly falls back, covering each other as they egress the building. The target luckily escaped. In the debriefing room the next day, no one reprimands you. The commanding officer nods. You followed the rules of engagement, ROW, correctly. You maintained tactical composure by not shooting through a civilian. You are a model soldier, but the cruelty doesn't lie in disciplinary papers. The following week, on the internal news bulletin, a video of a bloody scene is played. The very insurgent leader you spared had strapped on a homemade suicide vest and blown himself up in the middle of a crowded market. Dozens of other children died. You clench your jaw tight. For the first time in all these grueling years of holding a gun, you chose to keep a shred of torn humanity for yourself. And the price to be paid for doing the right thing, according to the rules, is the blood of countless other lives in the future. You are 30 years old, and you are promoted to the position of platoon chief. You are responsible for running an entire platoon of 15 men. You are both the one drawing the plans on the sand table and the one leading the formation, charging straight into the darkness. A raid mission to capture a high-value target alive is unfolding in a remote valley. Dust and debris are still swirling thickly from the rotors of the MH-60 Black Hawk helicopter that just pulled away. You charge in and kick down the wooden door. The target is kneeling in the middle of the room, hands raised high above his head, surrendering. He has no weapons in his hands. Strictly following the Pentagon's rules of engagement, you must holster your weapon and handcuff him. But just as you take one step forward, his eyes suddenly flash with a desperate, bloodthirsty glint. His hands suddenly drop, plunging deep under the shattered table. Your brain doesn't need to waste time waiting for confirmation of whether he's pulling out a grenade or a Bible. Your index finger squeezes the trigger hard. 2 5.56 millimeters rounds punch through his chest cavity, blowing him over backward. From under the table tumbles a fully loaded pistol. You just saved the entire team. But simultaneously, you also blatantly violated a direct capture alive order handed down from superiors. You exhale sharply, bitterly awaiting a disciplinary court-martial to strip you of your rank. But the next day, no sentence is pronounced. The report file is smoothly edited by the system, with the line, "Target resisted fiercely." The organization doesn't punish you at all. A bitter smile tugs at the corners of your mouth. Laws, rules of engagement, or A4 papers stamped with red ink. They only exist in safe, air-conditioned rooms in Washington, D.C. When the line between life and death is measured in tenths of a second in a mud brick house, the system implicitly hands you ultimate power. You are the law. At 34, you take on the role of task unit leader. Your vision is no longer restricted through the front sight post of a rifle scope. You are standing in the Tactical Operations Center, surrounded by dozens of monitors transmitting live data feeds from drones. You hold command over 30 to 60 men, coordinating a tangled web of information with the CIA. Midnight falls, the static of the radio constantly pounding in your earpiece. Alpha Team has been heavily ambushed at Target X. Bravo team is pinned down in a dead-end corner with no way out at target Y. RPG rockets continuously tear through the night space. Screams from the operators begging for close air support echo with sheer desperation. You only have a single flight of AC-130 gunships loitering in the air. That amount of firepower is only enough to save one of the two teams. There is no time for hesitation. Bravo team is holding a high-level terrorist target. Alpha team is merely executing a decoy diversion mission. Your finger presses hard onto the microphone button. Your voice is cold and dry. AC-130, divert airstrike to coordinates Y. Maximum fire support for Bravo. On the satellite screen, columns of blinding white fire rain down, successfully breaking the siege for Bravo team. The capture mission is flawlessly completed. But on another corner of the screen, the life signs of 4 members of Alpha team flicker out one by one. The gunfire at coordinates X sinks into silence. Cold sweat beads on your forehead. Cheers of celebration erupt throughout the command room because the force captured the big target. Not a single person notices the 4 tiny dots that just vanished from the map. You stand motionless like a statue. Your moral reality has been permanently bent. At this rank, you are no longer a warrior holding a gun directly in combat. You have become a grim reaper sitting behind a screen, ruthlessly waving a hand to choose who gets the right to keep living and who is forced to die in their place. You turn 38, and you officially touch the absolute pinnacle of the global military world. You are selected for the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, the name the media always curiously refers to as SEAL Team 6. It is a unit that absolutely does not exist on official administrative paperwork. Your mission is strictly confined to 3 words: counterterrorism, assassination, hostage rescue. You are low crawling on the roof of a high-rise building in the Gulf region. You wear no insignia on your shoulder, nor an American flag patched to your chest. You are wielding an HK-416 rifle fitted with a specialized suppressor. Quad-tube panoramic night vision goggles help you turn the pitch-black night into daylight. Your team fast ropes in, smoothly breaching through the window frame. Dust and smoke billow thickly in a cramped room. Your target, a notorious terrorist kingpin, is backing into the corner of the wall in panic. He has nowhere left to run. His hand tightly grips the throat of an innocent civilian hostage. The muzzle of his gun is pointed directly at the hostage's temple. The bodies of the target and the hostage are pressed tightly together without a millimeter of space. The only gap for you to shoot the target in the head without injuring the hostage is just a fragile few centimeters. The time you have to react is compressed into a mere 0.5 seconds. You raise your weapon. You hold your breath, then decisively pull the trigger. The foot sound of the gunshot is suppressed. The bullet drills straight into the target's eye socket. His head snaps violently backward, but mechanical inertia causes his finger to spasm on the trigger. A deafening gunshot echoes. The hostage collapses to the floor, blood pooling profusely. The entire room sinks into a terrifyingly still silence. Gun smoke still drifts vaguely in the air. You stand staring blankly at the 2 corpses lying on top of each other. Not a single teammate speaks up to reproach your action. But when returning to headquarters, there is no covering silence. Waiting for you are mountains of paperwork. You are brought into the cold rooms of the Department of Defense, facing JAG military lawyers. You must explain over and over again every millisecond of that moment you pulled the trigger. The most horrific part isn't the investigation, it's the final conclusion. After weeks of dissection, the system produces a risk analysis report. They conclude with a soulless mathematical formula. 1 hostage killed in exchange for eliminating a high-level terrorist leader is an acceptable loss. No one calls you a murderer. The pinnacle of cruelty is that the system has legitimized death, turning the life of an innocent human being into a flashing risk ratio number on a statistics board. You realize you truly are just a tool. At 42, you hold the rank of senior leader. You officially step into the highest echelon of leadership. The mud-caked field uniform is replaced by a polo shirt and sharply pressed camouflage trousers. You no longer have to directly hold a gun and kick down doors. You stand in a freezing, air-conditioned room, hands clasped behind your back, staring intently at the display screens, spitting out only ice-cold orders. A sweep operation is unfolding in the night. You order a squad of young operators to push the pace of their march through a narrow valley. regardless of any potential risks. You care only about the speed of mission completion. Suddenly, an improvised explosive device, EED, blasts tears across the surveillance screen. Fire and smoke obscure the space. A young operator, only 23 years old, is killed instantly on the spot. After the mission concludes, you lock yourself in a closed room. You open the video footage recorded from the helmet camera of the fallen soldier. You sit, watching him fumble, in extreme tension, and blindly charge into the darkness solely because he had to strictly obey the dry orders you issued over the radio. He had absolutely no time to think. His demeanor at that moment was exactly like the image of yourself 20 years ago. Your spine suddenly runs ice cold. You reach out your calloused hand to touch the glass of the monitor screen. The disintegration of your soul is complete. You realize you are no longer a flesh and blood human being with emotions. You have completely mutated into a core software program of the military machine, an obsolete, calloused version that is ruthlessly replicating itself using the blood and bones of the next generation. You turn 45, and you decide to sign your discharge papers. The military does not hold a grand public honoring ceremony for you. There are no shining medals paraded on the front pages of newspapers. The press and media have absolutely no idea who you are. You unpin the sacred gold trident insignia and bury it deep in the bottom of a drawer. You quietly leave the base, blending into the bustling streams of people on the street like an invisible ghost with no past. A brilliantly sunny weekend afternoon shines down. You drive to a California beach. The fresh sea breeze blows through your graying hair. You take slow steps on the fine sand. The crowd around is laughing and joking happily, kids gleefully playing on the swings. The ocean waves surge and crash hard against the stone breakwater, creating deafening roar, crash sounds. Suddenly, your pupils dilate to their maximum. Your heart rate spikes to 130 beats a minute. The muscles throughout your entire body tense up involuntarily. The sound of those gentle crashing waves hits your eardrums exactly like the sound of heavy mortar artillery fire on the battlefield. The smell of sea salt shoots straight up your nose, instantly awakening horrific memories from years past. You do not see a beautiful, peaceful beach at all. Before your eyes, the clear blue water has turned into a murky, bloody red. The sound of children screaming in play is distorted by hallucination into the agonizing, desperate screams for a medic from your teammates whose bodies were shattered under enemy fire. The space around you feels as if it is suffocating. The concept of peace for you now is just a luxurious joke. You have permanently lost the ability to survive and enjoy life like a normal human being. You pass the age of 50. The scene unfolding before your eyes is a dive bar, reeking of stale beer and cigarette smoke in the city of San Diego. The bar is dead empty, not a single customer in sight. You sit quietly in a dark corner, your sinewy hand swirling a half-empty glass of whiskey. The faint red and blue neon lights cast a glow on your face, already deeply etched with wrinkles and the faded scars of war. Looking through the grime-covered window of the bar, your line of sight aims straight at the United States Navy recruiting office located right across the street. The transparent glass of the recruiting office allows you to see clearly everything happening inside. A young man, around 20 years old, wearing a faded t-shirt, sits cowering before the recruiting officer's desk. A volunteer application to join BUD/S training lies open on the desktop. The officer carefully pushes a pen toward the young man. He reaches out his hand to take the pen. You narrow your eyes to observe. His hand is trembling slightly. It is a hesitation, a confusion, but it is also full of the naive eagerness of youth as he faces the abyss of life and death. His demeanor right now is exactly like yours 30 years ago, not off by a single millimeter. The corner of your mouth twitches involuntarily. An ultimately brutal truth strikes your aging mind. Finally, you understand the entire structural nature of the world to which you just blindly dedicated your whole life. There are no heroic figures in this world specializing in saving humanity, nor are there any happy endings honored with banners and slogans. This military machine is, in reality, just a colossal industrial production line. It is a factory running on flesh and blood, specializing in producing human beings who are brainwashed, stripped of all emotional layers, and always ready to be thrown into the jaws of death without ever leaving a single trace behind. You bring the glass of liquor close to your lips. Your eyes are still glued to the young man's hand across the street. His fingers tighten their grip on the pen barrel, and he begins to trace the first timid letters onto the fateful paper. You sit dead still like a statue. Your throat does not emit any sound of warning whatsoever. Your feet do not lift to rush across the street to stop him. You just quietly take a sip of the bitter liquor. The burning alcohol tears down your throat. You swallow your own cowardly silence. Because deep down inside that rusting, system-programmed head, you know one thing very well. If you break the rules, if you step across the street to snatch that pen and stop him, that ruthless machine will never stop. The flesh and blood assembly line will still continue to run at full speed. If it is not this kid today, then tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, there will always be another foolish kid voluntarily stepping into that room, obediently sitting down in that chair, and decisively signing a name to substitute for his grave.